Welcome to the For the Love of the Game podcast with Johnny K. This is episode 9, our very first interview episode, and we're kicking it off with Kate from 24 Clothing. Johnny and Kate sit down to talk about what it really means to build a brand that means something. They walk through the stories and experiences that shape them, and how those moments found their way into every stitch, every product, and every choice they've made since. Two founders, two journeys, one shared love for creating something that matters. Let's get into it.
John Coleus here from For the Love of the Game podcast. Super excited today. We have our first ever guest, and it's my friend Kate Longmire from the brand 24. And we're going to talk about brands today. We're going to talk about how it makes us feel, and we're going to talk about the apparel side of things also. So welcome, Kate.
Thank you very much, JK.
Yeah.
Excited to be here.
Yeah, it's awesome. Your brand 24, can you tell us a little bit about it and how it came into fruition?
Yeah, sure. So I'm in recovery, and part of getting well was focusing only on the day that I was in. So I had to stop thinking about yesterday, all of the mistakes and failures and things I wish I'd have done differently, and stop obsessing about all the things that could potentially go wrong tomorrow, and just stay focused on the day that I was in. And I got to move to BC for a part of COVID, and I lived near my sister, and we were talking one day about how hard it is to live one day at a time, regardless if you're in a tough season or if you're in a really good season and you just want to enjoy the day. And we thought, wouldn't it be cool if we put it on some hoodies, and just for ourselves basically and a few friends, just to as a reminder to stay in the day. And so I asked an agency friend of mine to help create a couple logos for me, and they came back with a plethora of work, so much so that I felt obligated to do something with it, because it was such a beautiful gift. And so the whole 24 apparel was born from that. And I plugged away at it. I have a day job, and so I don't get to spend as much time on it as I would like. But I plugged away at it for the better part of, 8 or 9 months after hours, learning how to build websites and stuff. And it was born from there. And all proceeds from 24 go towards organizations that help those struggling with mental health and addiction. So it pays it forward for all the help that was given me when I was struggling.
Yeah, that's an awesome story. I can speak to brands and For the Love of the Game and how it makes us feel and how it makes others feel too. So that's really awesome. For 24, what's the focus now with 24, and how do you use that in your everyday life?
I'm constantly not in the moment. And so for me, I use it to stay reminded to just be where I am at all times. But I do know it's helped other people get through some tough situations when they didn't really see how it could all work out and they needed the strength to keep going. So I know there's been a few friends who it's really resonated with as well. And just, like I said, anybody who needs a reminder to stay in the day. So it's really transformed, I'd say, from a little pet passion project for just myself and my sister to helping hopefully a few others beyond just ourselves.
Yeah, that's awesome. Just being able to help others and, through their struggles. And what do you hope people feel when they wear your brand?
Oh, that's a good question. I hope they feel present, number one. Table stakes, that's sort of no matter what situation they're in. If they're going through a tough time, like I did for a bit, I hope they feel that there's a little bit of strength and hope just to keep putting one foot in front of the other. You don't have to do everything all at once. Things can be achieved one tiny, minute step at a time. And if they're in a really good season, I hope it's just a reminder, they feel reminded to just be where you are.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
I know working with For the Love of the Game over the years and my brand, and I find like the more I put into it and work on it and then see others wear it and see how it makes them feel, it makes me feel better too, that I'm, trying to make a difference. And 24, I love the concept. I love the swag too, and checking out your website and selling the apparel and just seeing others kind of just help, even if it's a little minute, it makes me feel better. And that's I know when I reflect to my own brand with For the Love of the Game, it takes me back to, and people sometimes ask me where For the Love of the Game came from, and it's weird because I'll say, it happened when I was 8 years old, and then they wanted to look at me like I'm confused, like how can an 8-year-old know about For the Love of the Game? And I said, well, it's a little more complicated than that. When I was 8, I knew what sports, how it made me feel. I didn't know it was going to turn into an apparel line, 48 years later, but I knew that, growing up in a house with some domestic violence and knowing that, that, my mom was a trooper, she was very positive and she always would say like things will get better. And it wasn't until growing up in Goderich, Ontario, early 80s, I took a walk at 8 years old, believe it or not. Back then, hijacking a chubby little Greek kid wasn't high on the priority list, so I could go and walk about in Goderich. And I remember, walking by the Goderich Memorial Arena. And I remember I'd never been to a rink before or been to a hockey game. And I remember just the parking lot was full and there was like a family come out of the rink. And I remember I'm like, wow, you just kind of sit back and I'm looking, and mom and dad and son and daughter, a couple hockey bags, couple sticks. Dad opens the trunk, puts the bags in, slams the trunk. They're all happy and they leave. And I'm like, holy cow, like what is that? And I never stepped foot into an arena before. So I remember like that was the day. I opened the door of the Goderich Memorial Arena, and instantly, like, I've been there so many times since, but it's like that old, musty, Rena Zamboni, popcorny smell, and there was like about 4 or 5 steps going down. I remember walking down the rail, and I went right to the rink, and I remember I saw it for the first time, and these kids were just having fun. And I knew right then I wanted to play hockey, right? And that's where I started to play hockey in Goderich. But when someone asked me, like, where did, For the Love of the Game came from, like, that was the day that I knew that when I started to play hockey or baseball or anything, that was a distraction. Like, that was like a timeout for me.
Yeah.
And that was just like, I didn't think about anything happening bad at home. I knew that, I have a ball game. Well, guess what? I have a tournament. We're going to stay overnight. We're going to go to a water park. Oh, we have a hockey tournament. We're in the playoffs. And I do think that having something to look forward to was huge for me. And, and with your brand 24, having, breaking it down into like just 24 hours, breaking it down to those small, you don't have to look into how am I going to survive this week or this month, or just having like, just breaking it down into 24 hours, breaking it down, I bet, into an hour, into 5 minutes, into a minute. Just recently, I've done a bit of meditation and breathing, and I never knew that stuff was as solid, as great as you've ever done it. So if you've never tried it, I highly recommend it. And just breathing and this little app I have on my phone with meditation. Props to Ethan. He helped me with he got me into that, and I really appreciate him for that, because just in the morning, take a break, write down what's important. And that one day at a time mentality. So I love what you have with your brand, and I really think you have something there. And the best part is a lot of people are gonna get help from this, and the fact that you're selling the product and you're putting it towards a good cause too is just a step in the right direction. I really love it.
Thanks, John. Thanks, John. I hope so. For me, it was when I finally got well from my struggles. I felt like my life was over. I felt like Rip Van Winkle, actually. Like, I woke up, I started to get well again, and my whole life had blown up, and I felt like I was like 30 feet underground, like looking at my life that was sort of strewn out about around me, and I kind of didn't even know what happened. And I'd lost everything, really. Thankfully, I had, my family had stuck beside me and some good friends, but it's almost like laying there in that cavern thinking, like, how the hell am I going to get up to level ground again? Like, it just seemed impossible to build any semblance of a life back. And it was so overwhelming. It was so overwhelming. And it kept me frozen. So I had to just start chunking it off. Like, okay, today I can get out of bed. Okay, I can shower. I can it was just like, what is the very next right thing I can do? I can call somebody to talk about things. I can reach out. I can go to a support group. It was just always like those little tiny things. And it felt like, honestly, step by step, I got something pulled me up out of this hole that I was in. And I stopped just going from like, okay, just get through the day. First of all, it was like get through the hour,
Yeah.
get through to lunch, and then it was get through the day. And then it was not only get through the day anymore, it was actually like, okay, in little pleasant moments throughout the day. And then, you know, string many, many, many days of that in a row. And then all of a sudden I started to look forward to the day again. And then I wasn't just trying to get through the day, I was trying to actually live in the day and hopefully be a blessing to people around me in the day. And it was that whole transformation of going from like just surviving a day to actually wanting to make the most of every day I'm in, that I hope anyone that wears 24 apparel, I hope they go through that exact same journey. And it's just like for the love of the game, like it brings so much. It's that escape, it's that bigger meaning, it's that kind of higher order purpose from it that I know that has so much meaning for you, and hopefully the people that wear your apparel too. I know it does for me.
Yeah, just reflecting as you're talking here, and when you mentioned the word family, and I remember when I was 20, 21, I just opened the store, and I had my first dose of depression. I actually never thought it actually existed. I had friends in the past before that time that, oh, he's not well, he's depressed, he's in the hospital, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, how do people get depressed? And then until it hits you for the first time, and it hit me and this hit me like a bag of hammers. And I remember like the support I had from my close friends. Do you know what I mean? Like always checking up on me. And my mom for sure, like she would always say, like, just keep going. Like that's kind of her message on everything. Like probably till the day she died, it was always like, keep going and never give up. And so when you have with your struggles with addiction, and I've struggled with depression and have challenges, but taking that one day at a time and the 24 hours and just everything, it's I'm so happy you're here. I think I'm so happy we could do this podcast together, and I feel that your brand is gonna hit for sure, and it's gonna help a lot of people. And I couldn't be happier to be here with Kate today doing this 9th podcast. And I want you to have an eye out for Kate's her social media stuff, her website. She's gonna go to a show or a recovery in Vancouver, like a seminar.
Yeah, it's the World Recovery. It's a World Recovery Conference, first part of July 3rd to the 9th. So I will be at that in Vancouver, and then I'm online at Have a Beautiful 24.
Yeah.
I don't post often. I don't post often. I would like to start posting more, but I don't just yet. But I do sometimes, so check it out. And then, of course, my website, 24.ca.
Yeah, no, that's great. So my first official guest on the John Coyce for the Love the Game podcast, my friend Kate. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you again next month. Thanks.
Bye.
This episode is brought to you by Stay Social Hydration, clean, crisp, pure Canadian spring water. Stay social, feel good.